Hey folks, welcome to another video from GPSmaestro.com, your source for all things related to cell phones, smartphones, and GPS. So today we're doing a video on the Verizon iPhone 4 versus the AT&T iPhone 4. This is one thing that people have been wondering now that it's finally official. The Verizon iPhone 4 is finally here. So I thought, well, why don't we just jump in and get started and kind of look at what the differences are between the two phones. Okay, here's a couple important notes that people have been asking about the Verizon iPhone 4. No, this is not a 4G phone. It's still going to be the same old 3G phone that it is on AT&T. All right, and it doesn't have an LTE antenna. It can't be upgraded that way. You'll have to buy a 4G specific phone if you want 4G. Okay, there is no Verizon bloatware on here. I know people have been kind of wondering if Verizon would muck it up, but no. This is all Verizon's garbage software apps they'd like to install are not there. And as far as the white iPhone 4 goes, people were saying, hey, they're going to have it out with when Verizon makes its announcement. No such luck. The Verizon iPhone 4, or the white iPhone 4, still MIA. So all in all, the specifications of both phones are pretty much identical. They both got the Retina display and the same 1 gigahertz processor, the same amount of RAM, all that jazz. They both can access the App Store. Really no differences there, okay? So, but there are a few differences to look at here. Let's start with the big one, is the antenna, okay? AT&T is a GSM network, and Verizon is a CDMA network. So this is why the phone hasn't come sooner, because it's different antenna technology inside. Now, one thing to keep in mind here is that there should be fewer death grip issues. If you remember back when the iPhone 4 first came out, people were having all sorts of problems with signal loss. Well, with the whole antenna being redesigned in the Verizon iPhone, that really shouldn't be an issue. Though one thing to keep in mind that with AT&T, it's not too big of an issue anymore, as Apple did kind of quietly add a non-conductive coating to the outside of their new iPhones. So while they don't give away bumpers anymore like they used to for AT&T, the phones, they're just really not too big of an issue, though expected to be fixed in the next generation iPhone anyway. All right, connectivity and data. Here's a couple ones where there is a little bit of a difference. Remember, everybody's talking about how AT&T doesn't have a very good network for the iPhone, and the iPhone has really crippled it. And for the most part, that's true. Now, let's talk about some of what Verizon's going to get here. They're going to get, your phone will come with a Wi-Fi hotspot app, so that if you get the plan for it anyway, you can use your iPhone 4 as a wireless hotspot like you can do with a lot of Android phones. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that this is just an app that allows you to use it. Both phones for both carriers actually have the hardware for it, though AT&T just hasn't allowed you to use it. Though we are expecting, with the release of iOS 4.3, the wireless hotspot to come to AT&T, and that's estimated to be in March 2011, but don't quote me on that. I'm just kind of taking an educated guess here based on what I've been able to uncover. All right, as far as speeds, AT&T has quite a bit faster theoretical max speeds than Verizon does, at 7.2 Mbps versus 3.1 Mbps. But keep in mind that real world tests so far anyway are showing that Verizon's actually is faster because their network isn't so overloaded as some places are with AT&T. But one thing you do get with AT&T on their phone is that you can still do simultaneous data and calls. So if you need to look up something on Google Maps while you're on a phone call, you can do that. If you need to go online while you're on the phone, you can still do that. With Verizon, you can only do data, like internet, or phone calls. You can only do one or the other, not both at the same time. All right, so those are probably the biggest major differences. Another little one here, roaming, okay? The CDMA one for Verizon, that's going to be US only. There aren't a lot of other CDMA networks out there. Most of the world uses GSM, which means that the AT&T one, while it is really expensive, can do global roaming, okay? A couple things that we want to look at here that remain to be seen that have been kind of an issue on AT&T is the dropped calls. man, the iPhone has, in all its iterations, has been notorious for dropping calls. Now, it's not totally clear if that's an AT&T issue or a phone issue. So that's one thing that's going to remain to be seen, especially once a lot of iPhones get put on Verizon's network. Can it handle all the extra load? Verizon wants to have you believe yes, and that very well may be the case. They do have a bigger network. It's a little bit slower than AT&T's, but it's pretty rock solid. It doesn't fail very often. Okay? And another thing that remains to be seen is better call quality. Okay, Verizon likes to tell you that they've got the best call quality, and again, that's something that's going to remain to be seen, especially once there's a few million of these iPhones added to the network on top of all the other smartphones from BlackBerry and Android and Windows Phone 7. So, will there be better call quality? We don't know yet. As far as availability, Verizon customers, if you're already a Verizon customer, February 3rd, you can get your iPhone 4. You can pre-order it. And February 10th, everybody else can get in on it. That's the official launch date. So those are the differences between the AT&T and Verizon versions of the iPhone 4. That's all we know so far. So if you have any questions, feel free to post a comment. Let me know. Let me know what you think of the video. I want to thank you for watching. And that's all I got. Be sure to come check us out at gpsmaestro.com, your home for all things GPS and smartphones. See you next time.